Welcome to the Essentra Health podcast series. I'm your host, Yeji Lee. In this series, we bring you helpful information to support your well-being and to overcome the many challenges that life can bring. Our aim always is to bring you information or actions to support your well-being that is accessible to everybody. Today, we are discussing something of importance as the holidays are approaching. The holiday season is often viewed as a time of joy, love, and celebration with friends and family. However, for many people, it can also be a time of stress. In fact, that's a common experience for many. Today, we want to discuss some things that you can do to take some of the stress out of your holiday season. Our guest is Norman Weiniger, Vice President of Clinical Services here at Essentra Health and licensed mental health practitioner with many years of experience working in the mental health field.
Thank you, Yeji, and I'm really glad that we could discuss this topic today.
Thank you, Norman. I'm sure we have all experienced some level of stress at some point in our lives, but can you talk about how holiday stress is different than just the normal stress that you might feel on a daily basis?
Yes, sure. Let's maybe start by looking at what stress is. Put very simply, stress is a part of life and it's unavoidable, and it can be defined as a feeling of worry or dread about a difficult situation or about any kind of situation. Now, how we manage this unavoidable stress in our life is the key. Holiday stress might be defined as a feeling of worry that's caused by the additional stressors that come about around the demands of the holiday season. Now, think about what those stressors include. Might be increased responsibilities from seasonal deadlines at work, which some of us have, and the deadlines around our personal life around the holidays, such as shopping for gifts or planning family or social events. Other kinds of special stresses I think of, Yeji, around the holidays come from being mentally tired or even exhausted from maybe a schedule that's too overpacked with things like parties or school events, end of year work events or deadlines or those kinds of things that tend to stack up and pile up in the last part of the year. Another stressor is financial strains that tend to be unique to the holidays. We know that holidays can really put a damper on our bank accounts, especially when it's so easy to make a purchase that's only a few clicks away. Uh, the holidays are about spending times with loved ones, but sometimes the pressure of gift giving to loved ones adds an extra component of stress to that aspect of the holidays. So it's sometimes necessary to set budgets on those kinds of things and be able to say no or be able to make cuts in spending to ensure that your budget is met and that you're being financially smart during the holiday season. Those are a few of the I think special stressors that come about at this time of year, Yeji.
Thanks, Norman. I think a lot of us can relate on some level to some or all of those points that you just mentioned. But can you go more into detail on some of the specific reasons or causes of holiday stress?
Sure. Sometimes when we think about holiday stress, the stereotype is the picture of anxiety from interacting with busy shoppers and crowded stores and shopping centers. But I want to talk now in response to that question about some additional stressors around the holidays. And I wanted to talk about issues around time, around pressures, financial issues, unrealistic expectations, and triggering events. So let's jump into that for a moment. The first thing I think about is the schedule conflicts and time constraints. We all only have a certain amount of time. Having too much to do and not having enough time to do all those things, balancing all those things with work, having time to squeeze in that extra holiday shopping, having more than the usual number of social or family commitments, and then scheduling time for exercise or self-care activities. All of that creates stress on people. So we have to really rethink our schedule and rethink our management of time at this time of year. Second thing I think about is the pressure of gift giving. People love to give gifts. People love to receive gifts. And sometimes we get into the mode of, I have to give the perfect gift, or I have to sort of compete with somebody else in terms of gift giving. We bring a lot of pressure on ourselves with gift giving. So that's an area to focus on, and to focus on how we think and approach that pressure. I mentioned before financial issues. That's almost a universal stressor that we have to keep our eyes on to avoid impulse buying. Look at how we're building up credit card debt during the holidays. How are we spending compared to our budget? That type of thing. That's a big and important stressor for a lot of folks around this time of year. Something I mentioned earlier is unrealistic expectations. This holiday season is a wonderful time, but it's also a great time to have unrealistic expectations. Thinking Hallmark movie type of expectations. We have to be prepared for not setting our expectations too high, or else we may have letdowns in terms of what we expect socially, or what we kind of expect in terms of our spending and decorating and such. So think about the expectations you have around the holidays. And I mentioned triggering events. Sadly, for many people, the holidays are not a happy and joyous time, but they can be a sad time. It can be that way because they are not with family or friends as they had been in past holidays. There are always military deployments, for example, going on. Loved ones may be missing, or may be overseas, or removed from us during the holidays. There's all sorts of traumas and disappointments that sometimes can be associated with the holidays. And Reggie, I'm also mindful that the holidays for folks who are in recovery from some type of substance misuse can face special challenges around this time of year. And that's something we all should be sensitive to in terms of supporting them and helping folks like that during the holiday period.
Yes, thanks, Norman. All of those points that you just mentioned can be very stressful indeed. Kind of jumping to another topic related to that, what are some ways that people can cope with that kind of stress?
I think it begins with being intentional, Yeji. A few coping strategies I will toss out that hopefully will be of help to people include, first of all, owning your own time. That means planning ahead, making room for unexpected events, creating realistic schedules, saying no to some social events, and allowing yourself to get rest and to be recharged, and to, like I said, take ownership of your time. A second way is don't go overboard on expensive gifts. Get creative with gift giving. Remember that It's quality over quantity, homemade gifts, active service, spending quality time with people are gifts as well, and can be very friendly to your budget. Speaking of that, own your own finances. We're responsible for regulating our spending. Best way to do that is create a holiday budget. Think about what you want to spend and stick to that. Refrain from the pitfall I think of as giving gifts out of guilt, and maybe avoid what are sometimes expensive last-minute shopping. Another tip I would encourage us all to keep in mind is plan and prepare. Prepare for some unexpected events or unexpected expenses, and also prepare ourselves emotionally for what could be unpleasant or sometimes disappointing social or family interactions that sometimes happen at this time of year. And I'd also encourage us all to think about, as we think of the holiday season, think about things that we can't control, things that we can only influence, and things that we have the power to control, and the ability to control. Make a list of things that you can control about the holidays. Focus on those. If you do that, it will give you a better sense of having a sense of mastery and stability.
Thank you, Norman. I think that last one is a very good tip in general, and all of those points are very helpful information. Lastly, self-care is something that we can control to some degree, and it supports our sense of well-being. So can you talk about practicing self-care during the holiday season and why it's so important to do so?
Absolutely. Self-care is so important. It's something that we have to be intentional about year-round, especially during a stressful time like the holidays. I would encourage people to understand that self-care activities actually help reduce your stress levels, actually help improve our overall sense of well-being. Self-care, simply put, means engaging in activities and being intentional about creating activities that bring you joy and relaxation. That might include exercise, meditation, spending time in nature. These activities can alleviate stress, as I said, and promote a sense of calm during the holidays. And remember, there's no one formula about self-care. Self-care activities look different for each of us as unique beings. Remember, too, back to something I said earlier, we own our own self-care, and we owe it to ourselves to practice self-care. So I would encourage all of us to think about practicing self-care around the holidays by taking responsibility, knowing that it can look different to each person. I guess, Yeji, in the holiday theme, remember that self-care is a gift that you can give yourself year-round. One final thing I would mention, there are quite a few resources out there that can give more information about holiday stress. One of them is a website called NAMI. Another one that I like is the American Psychological Association's website. Always keep in mind that you can reach out to your employee assistance program for private, confidential, no-cost assistance about supporting your well-being and about handling holiday stress or any kind of stressful personal issue, Yeji.
Thank you, Norman. That was all very important information, and I'm sure that everyone learned a lot today. And with that, we wish you all a pleasant holiday season, and we conclude today's podcast. On behalf of everyone here at Essentra Health, thank you for listening.